Hi everyone. So I wanted to start out by saying we appreciate you all taking the time to go ahead and listen to our presentation today. We are a group of Oklahoma college students that attend the University of Oklahoma, and we will be presenting our research to you on Stafford Air and Space Museum. So you might be wondering, what is Stafford? Well, Stafford is an air and space museum located in Weatherford, Oklahoma. Our main goal of this research project was to determine the most efficient way to drive in new visitors to the museum. Especially with COVID going on, we want to be able to help Stafford drive in many new people. So we started out by determining our key public. For Stafford, this was college students in the state of Oklahoma. From here, we then developed a survey with questions regarding demographics, interests, potential visits to Stafford, prior visits to Stafford, and more. After doing this, we had more than enough results, and we combined the data from this with our interview findings to guide us in our future research. The main takeaways we found after doing this survey was that most individuals had never even heard of or been to Stafford. We also found that men are more likely to travel a further distance than women are to get to a museum. It tended to show that women take more COVID-19 precautions than men, and participants use social media as their main form of media consumption. So, you might be wondering, what exactly are our recommendations now? Well, we have recommended in the future that Stafford updates social media accounts. Knowing that social media is such an important part of media consumption today, we do think that Stafford needs to continue to be on top of their social media game. They can do things like hashtags, take higher quality photos, use Instagram Lives, and keep up with the social media trends. This will help Stafford to gain more social media attention and as a result, hopefully attract more people. It also is in Stafford's best interest to utilize Instagram much more frequently, considering this was the number one used platform whenever we asked in our survey. Overall, Stafford isn't doing a poor job in their efforts. They just need to critique the way that they are doing things and try to stay as current as possible. The museum's key public is a very social media driven key public, and Stafford needs to do what it takes to stay relevant and attract new visitors. Thanks.
At the Stafford Space and Air Museum, our main goal is to target a younger audience. Our main audience includes travelers exploring Oklahoma. We want to target high school students and college students because they are currently our third least common visitor. We can obtain our goal by doing a better job reaching out to nearby students at Weatherford High School and Southwestern State University. We believe that colleges outside of Weatherford, such as the University of Oklahoma, Oklahoma State University, and the University of Tulsa, can spread word of mouth of our museum throughout campus. We will increase social media presence and local advertising in the cities where these universities are located. At the Stafford Space and Air Museum, we are known for our uniquely portrayed exhibits. We are also an affiliate of the Smithsonian. We offer visitors memberships to our museum along with the Smithsonian Institution that include magazine subscriptions, store discounts, travel opportunities, and more for both of these museums. We offer information about our exhibits on our website, along with contact information, busy hours, and pricing, which can also be listed on Google. Externally, we compete with other museums in Oklahoma that are located closer to bigger cities than Weatherford, such as Oklahoma City and Tulsa. These museums include the Oklahoma Museum of Art, Will Rogers Memorial Museum, and more. They have a larger reputation than us because of their location. We do not meet the typical college student interest, which is focused more on social and party scenes and less on educational opportunities. However, to fix this, we will focus more on technological opportunities such as improving engagement on all our social media channels, be it through surveys, questionnaires, and advertising.
Hi, I'm Casey, and for our key publics, we chose young demographics that attend colleges in Oklahoma, particularly students who are interested in air and space. We chose this age group because college students are able to visit the museum on their own without a parent or guardian. They would also have more interest in these exhibits, especially if they're studying air and space. Sometimes professors will even give extra credit to students who go to these museums and take notes and maybe even a quiz at the end. When looking at demographic awareness, an important question we may want to know is how well the key public knows the organization, product, or service. When looking at communication, we want to know if the key public is actively seeking information on this issue. Also, we want to know who the credible sources are, opinion leaders, and influencers are for this key public. For situation analysis, we made a SWOT chart. The strengths for the museum are they have multiple exhibits, their location is near a big city, they have educated workers, they're open 7 days a week, and they're the only air and space museum in the area. Their weaknesses are that they are located in a smaller town, so there isn't much traffic coming through, and not many people know the museum is here. There also isn't a whole lot of promoting going on currently. However, this museum has ample opportunities, such as there's schools in the area that could potentially take field trips here, and they're located an hour out of Oklahoma City. Their threats are museums that offer different or more exhibits, museums who have more social media content, and new museums coming in. But overall, we feel with some updates to their social media platforms and targeting their key audiences, they will do great. Thank you.
So for method 1, our in-depth interview, we realized that the main piece missing from our secondary research was people's primary reactions, their experiences, opinions, and thoughts, etc. The direct interviews allowed us the opportunity to get more detailed and specific information. An in-depth interview was the perfect method for this research because it does a great job of collecting people's thoughts and their opinions. So our research questions were, I think we had about 12 of them. So number 1 was, what do you do in your free time? Number 2 is, what type of advertisements do you pay the most attention to? And if whatever they are, why? What social media platform do you use the most and why? What types of posts on this platform catch your eye the most? Have you ever heard of Stafford, and if so, please describe how? What could the staff at Stafford do to make you more interested in coming? What is keeping you from visiting Stafford? Please describe your hesitations or reservations. Is there anything else Stafford could offer to make you want to visit or return? What is your most memorable museum experience? What would you have changed about that if you could have? If there were any way for you to help spread the word, if there was a way for you to help spread the word about Stafford and you got some sort of incentive, would you be open to that? If you've ever been to Stafford, would you come back? Why or why not? And what's the first thing that comes to mind when I say air and space? So the main question we were trying to answer with the study is, how do we attract more people to Stafford? This in-depth interview allowed us to receive more information from our target public as opposed to more general information that can be gathered through other types of research. We were able to hear people's thoughts directly from them rather than just looking at numbers. In the long run, this will make it even easier for us to help Stafford grow because it helps us market using the human element, which is what people actually want. Our demographic was Oklahoma college students. We then interviewed over Zoom or on the phone, and beforehand gave the students the links to the Stafford site and all of their social media platforms. We utilized a lot of open-ended questions, which allowed for the answers to be more unique and descriptive. In our findings, we learned that social media plays a key role in our target audience's everyday lives. We found that Instagram was the most used social media platform, which tells us if we want to attract college students to Stafford, we need to have a strong Instagram platform.
We have designed 2 types of questionnaires. One is the member and the past visitor survey, and another one is a potential visitor survey. For both of them, we're target to the people are the college students who are living or study in the Oklahoma area. And our survey all can be surveyed through the media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or the Stafford Air and Space Museum official website. Although the 2 questionnaires' contents are different, but the research goals is focused on the market Stafford Air and Space Museum to expand different themes and attract more visitors during the pandemic time. Based on the data obtained from the 2 questionnaires, we propose the following questions. The first question is what is the awareness level of the Stafford Museum among potential visitors? we have the 164 survey samples, then it shows only 29 samples are the college students. And of the 29 college of students, there are only 3 of them are the members of the museum, which it means that most of members are not the college students. The second question is, what is the perfect distance that males or females willing to visit at the museum? We got the 151 samples are males and 360 samples are female for this question, and it shows that 40.5% of female and 26.7% of the male are willing to travel to the museum if the distance less than 30 minutes. And there are 49.4% of female, 53.3% of the male are willing to travel to the museum if the distance is 30 minutes to 1 hour. And there are 10% of female, 19.8% of male are willing to travel to the museum if the distance is more than 1 hour. During this question, we believe that the distance is less 1 hour is going to attract more potential visitors to visit the museum. And the third question is there any difference between male and female students in their interest in space? The data shows that the male are more interested in the space exploration, aviation, military history, how space research benefits the everyday life of humans, and everyday use of modern science rather than females. However, males and our females do not differ in interest in Oklahoma history, which we believe that explore more themes will attract more visitors. The last question is, are males or females more attracted to COVID-19 safety precautions of the museum? We got data shows that during the COVID-19 time, females are more likely than males to be concerned about COVID-19 safety precaution of the museum, and the whole survey shows that 84.57% of people are support COVID-19 safety precautions. This means during the pandemic, the museum should effectively do an excellent job in epidemic prevention.
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm going to be talking about the social media audit. With the social media audit, we were trying to capture the current social media presence of the museum as well as compared to outside museums. We went into depth on the activity of the accounts, format, consistency, and overall relevance. First, we looked into the Stafford Air and Space Museum's accounts. This included Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We analyzed over 2 weeks of data for Stafford Air and Space Museum. It was found that Stafford Air and Space Museum had a total of 1,075 followers on Instagram, 79 total YouTube subscribers, and 9,893 Facebook likes, as well as 822 Twitter followers. Much of the content posted to Instagram was curated in-house, this meaning that majority of the photos or content shared was directly from Stafford or the visitors. The Facebook and the Twitter also shared in-house content, as well as outside content from other accounts. The YouTube account posted content about space or just the museum itself. We then took a look at competing museums. One was the Combat Air Museum and one was the Tulsa Air and Space Museum. The Combat Air Museum had much less social media outlets. They only actually had a Facebook page, which had 2,969 likes, with the Tulsa Air and Space Museum having a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Their followings included 1,556 followers for Instagram, and 10,869 likes for Facebook, and a Twitter with 222 followers. So interaction through social media is important and it helps drive traffic back to pages. Stafford has a majority well-rounded social media presence in comparison to all the other museums that we looked at. In an attempt to better their website, though, Stafford could incorporate their social media into their website. If they integrated their photos and their content cross-platform, it could really help to drive traffic back. So also activity and photo quality could be increased, and they could follow the trends just to keep up and help better their audience. So that was what we did.
So for our research findings, we interviewed a group of college students across the state of Oklahoma that spanned various universities. Majority, I believe, were from the University of Oklahoma. We also had results from not only these interviews, but our survey results. And we conducted these interviews and these surveys with college-age students in the state of Oklahoma, meaning that the data we gathered from these questionnaires and interviews are going to be a good representation of the Stafford's target market and what they're really looking for. So one of the big things that we found that is probably the first task for Stafford is that many of the people we interviewed, the majority, hadn't ever been to and or even heard of Stafford Air and Space Museum. We also found that people, the target market that we interviewed, reacts best to social media, whether that's advertising or as a ways of communicating, getting information out there. In general, the most effective way to reach college-age students in Oklahoma for Stafford would be through social media. We also found that that people aren't really people in this target market are not necessarily viewing traditional advertising at the same rate as we would expect. So, people told us that they don't really see billboards, they don't pay attention to brochures, or even really watch TV, much public TV, cable TV, much anymore. And so this really just kind of shows, that that's a different avenue of marketing for Stafford, who puts most of their efforts into traditional advertising. So as a result of these findings, we have a few suggestions for Stafford. So obviously number one is going to be to really increase social media presence. This might mean adding a team member specifically for social media, and I think that we all think that that is a very necessary measure for Stafford, even if it is only an intern, to have someone whose job it is to specifically look after and run social media, which could help them, promote the museum. They can share photos easier. It's easier to get information out quickly. You don't have a whole layout plan and everything like that, so it's a lot better for events and things like that, which actually takes me to my next point. We found that college-age students really prefer to do things in groups with their friends, and so Instagram and other social media networks would be a really good tool for Stafford to use to kind of promote how good of a place it is to hang out, for group activities, things like that. And this can also allow them to schedule events for, or promotions for groups of people, which we also recommend. These promotions or events could all be advertised on social media, which we've seen in our target market has a better consumption rate on social media than on other platforms. And so I believe that this would really be a good stepping stone for Stafford to help increase the amount of people that are coming through the museum.